The last thing of the many things I've mentioned this morning is this. You may have noticed, for those of you who like to park on the Quindo, you may have noticed there are no parking signs.
They're there for a reason. The road narrows in front of your church, and it's a safety hazard for children who can't see the passing traffic over and around the illegally parked cars. And it's extremely dangerous. It's also a hazard for emergency vehicles who can't get through. There's plenty of parking in your parking lot, but your flock appears unwilling to walk a few yards further.
And I'd mentioned probably about a year ago, there was a fella down on the Fremont Street Experience. He heads up the New Atheists organization in Las Vegas. He'd emailed me, he was really upset that we were down there sharing the gospel. And, some of our techniques that we use in sharing the gospel, I think were so effective, it was really getting on his nerves.
I love free speech, and there are plenty of religious messages on the Circus of Fremont Street Experience. But your church is offending our tourists with bait and switch tactics. Many foreign tourists practice their English by trying to read the signs and are understandably offended when they think they are engaging in 5 minutes of friendly conversation, only to find out they're being duped. These tourists help keep my taxes low and are a foundational part of our economy, and you're scaring them off.
So he called, or he emailed me, and he basically threatened me, threatened the ministry, and I think he expected that I was just going to capitulate, but I didn't. I threatened him back. No, I'm just kidding. I kind of did. But so anyway, he threatened us that he was going to come and come to our services and just cause difficulty, and I'm not going to get into the details of that.
The vacant lot across the street that I was going to use is owned by the Parks Department, and they told me no one is allowed to use that unimproved lot for any purpose. I told them that your church had huge billboards in the park's lot. They had you take them down. And even though for convenience your flock parks and causes dust control issues in this vacant lot and violate easement of the lot, I dropped the issue with the Parks Department due to their swift enforcement of church-state separation.
But I welcomed him to come to the services, and he came last week, and some of you may have run into him. His name's John. Make sure you're praying for John. He needs Jesus. But he came with his cameras, and he's trying to find something to really pin on the church as an accusation, and the only thing he can find right now is that some of us park in the no parking zone on Quindo. So he went to Metro, and I had a couple of Metro officers come last week. One of them I've known for 15 years, is a really good friend of mine. And so listen, we got a really good chuckle out of it. I gave them the backstory on John, and I said, you know what, we will by all means obey the law, right? I mean, where it's a no parking zone, and so we're not going to park there.
You say you have a friend in Metro that showed up to discuss the matter, and from the reaction of the crowd, they think this is the high-level officer that does attend your church. The two officers that showed up, one junior officer with 5 years on Metro, says he occasionally attends your church. The other officer does not, and both officers have denied they, quote, got a chuckle out of the safety issue.
We're going to go to the city and see if we can get some type of waiver for Sunday mornings. But, until that time, we're going to obey the law. And so I want to encourage you, if you see the no parking signs out there, that's what that is all about. This is all about a couple of things. This is all about John getting born again. And so, if you're listening online, John, we love you. No matter what you do, we love you, and Jesus loves you too. And so pray for him. And then in addition to that, if some of you are thinking, man, it's about time we're being persecuted, this doesn't count as persecution, okay? So anyway, pray for him, and we'll see how that goes.
The only one persecuted in this video was Prophet John. You say this is about two things. John the atheist needs to be saved. Pray for him. And this is not about persecution of the church. You never mention the safety issue. And you have a school at this church, and you're teaching those kids that it's okay to violate the law in the name of religion.